All right, looking at percent increase and decrease, the formula for it is the percent change. So whether it's percent increase or decrease, it equals subtracting your values up on the top. So if it was a percent change and increase or percent decrease, you subtract them to find out how much of the change occurred. And then it's divided by the original number. And when you divide these two numbers, you'll get a decimal. So to convert that to a percent, you must times it by 100. So I have the steps here in order of as to what you do. Now, what situations in real life will involve percent increase? Well, percent increase, you can show it as an arrow up, which means your numbers are increasing from the start to finish. So maybe you went from 10 to 20 or 52 to 55. Any of the change from the original to the new value that goes up is a percent increase. For example, if you had tax added to something, that charge would be increased. Your bill would be increased by adding the tip. If you're a wholesaler, you also increase the price when it's the retail price so that you can make a profit. And if there's interest, you're going to be increasing it as well. Maybe if you're talking like weight, you're going to increase weight. It's anything where the value from the original to the new value is increased. Percent decrease, however, is represented with the arrow down, and that means that the value is going to decrease from the original to the new value. When does this occur? If you were to see like a discount, so that means you're going to get some money off, which means you're not going to pay that full price. The wholesale value is going to be less than what they're going to sell as retail. And like if you were to have cars or certain things that depreciate in value over time. So if you were to buy a car, once you drive it off the lot, it depreciates. And so it's not worth as much money as it originally was when you purchased it. So looking at a couple examples here, your original amount is 12 and your new amount is 18. And then it wants to know what is the percent change. So the percent change is looking at 12 to 18. You want to ask yourself, is that going up or down? I see as going up. So I know in my answer, I need to write percent increase. So I'm just going to go ahead and write increase so that I don't forget to put that in my answer. Now I need to use the formula. The formula says the first thing I need to do is to subtract the two numbers. So 18 minus 12. Then I need to say, okay, what one was my original? That's the number that goes on the bottom. So the number on the bottom is 12 because the starting amount, the original amount is 12. When you do this, what you get is 18 minus 12. You end up getting 6 over 12. 6 over 12, 6 divided by 12, that's half of it. So that's 0.5. That's a decimal. So once you get your decimal answer, you must times it by 100 as stated in the formula so that you know when you have times 100, you're moving the decimal 2 places and your answer is a 50% increase. The next example says the original amount is 20 and the new amount is 10. And you have to find out what is the percent change. Okay, well, you're saying the original amount was 20, so you went from 20 to 10. That to me looks like it went down in value. So I know in my answer that it is going to be some sort of decrease. And I already know it's going to be a percent decrease. So I'm going to make sure to remember to put the percent sign. And now I just need to figure out how much was that decrease. So I use the formula. The first step says to subtract the 2 to find out what the change is. So that's 20 minus 10. And you should write this down, even though I know you can do it in your head, but the whole point is to memorize the formula. So 20 minus 10, and then the original, which is actually the 20, goes on the bottom. When you do 20 minus 10, that gets you 10 over 20. That ends up getting 0.5. That's a decimal. Now you must go from the decimal to a percent by doing it times 100. And when you times 100, since there's two zeros, excuse me, that's one place value, two place values. So this is a 50% decrease. This last sample, you decide to buy a $100,000 Mercedes-Benz. You are all excited about it, but you drive out of the lot and decide you don't want it anymore and try to return it. A car depreciates. That's not a good thing, which means it goes down in value once you take it off the lot. Now it's only worth $92,000. What was the percent change? Was it percent increase or decrease, and why? So that car's value went from $100,000 to $92,000. Yikes. So that tells you right there that depreciation means that you're going to lose value. And since you're losing value, that's the why, it's going to be a percent decrease. So I know right now in my answer, it's a percent decrease. Now I'm going to find my change. I'm going to take the $100,000 minus the $92,000 over its original, what it was valued at the start. 92,000 from 100,000 is $8,000. Wow, it lost $8,000 just by driving it off the lot, divided by the 100,000. So then you take your 8,000 divided by the 100,000, and you get 0.08. You could also think of it without a calculator. If you were to simplify 8 out of 100, which means 8 in the hundreds place, that's a decimal, so times 100 means move the 2 places. You had an 8% decrease, which means by losing $8,000 in value, you lost 8% of the car's value just by driving it off the lot. All right, so this time you're given the original price of $140. You have to figure out the new price and its 50% increase. Well, you know the new price has to be more. So in order to find the difference in the change up at the top, you're going to take the new, that's your X value, minus your original, 140. 140 on the bottom because that's your original. And then remember, 50%, convert that to a decimal, divide by 100. That ends up getting 0.5. So this should equal 0.5. So now that I'm right here, I'm going to get the 140 out by multiplying 0.5 times 140. So then you have X minus 140 equals 70. 70 minus or add, you have to add 140. That gets it gone. X equals 140 plus your 70 gets you 210. That's your new cost. Your new cost is 210, and it makes sense because if it's an increase, the new price should be more than the original. All right, so let's say you got a problem like this. The original price is $400. The new price is what you're looking for, and it's a 25% increase. Well, since it says increase, you know the new price has to be more than what you started with. So that means you're going to put the X, your variable, for the new price, because that's what we're going to look for. So the new price minus the 400, and it goes first, since again, we know this is going to be the larger number, over your original 400. Then you know it's going to be times 100 to equal 25%. Now what you have to do is inverse operation and work backwards. So we need to convert this percent to a decimal. So instead of times by 100, we're going to divide by 100. That means that now you're going to get 0.25, and it's going to be X minus 400 over 400. Now what you need to do is you need to get the 400 out from the bottom, from the denominator. So you must times both sides by 400. So times 400 times 400. That there gets you 100. 0.25 times 400 is 100. Now I need to get the 400 out from there. So since minus 400, inverse operation, do plus 400, which you do to one side, do to the other. That means that the new price would be $500. To check your answer to see if it makes sense, again, since it's an increase, that means the new price should be more because you're going 400 to an increased number, and 500 is bigger than 400.